My life felt like a carefully constructed sandcastle. Every grain perfectly placed, every turret reaching for the sky. It was beautiful, stable, seemingly eternal. Then the tide came in, not a sudden tsunami, but a slow, insidious creep that eroded everything. I believed, everything I cherished. His name was Mark, and he was my world. For 5 glorious years, we built our future. Brick by brick, dream by dream, laughter filled our home plans for children, for adventures, for growing old together, painted a vivid picture in my mind. I saw us, gray and wrinkled, holding hands, watching the sunset from our porch. It was a vision I clung to with every fiber of my being. Every shared memory, every whispered secret, every promise exchanged under starry skies felt like a sacred bond. Now it all felt like a grand illusion, a cruel deception played out on the stage of my deepest affections. The memories themselves became weapons turning against me, twisting joy into agony. The first signs were subtle, almost imperceptible. A forgotten anniversary, a late night at work that stretched into dawn, a phone call he took outside, a new scent on his clothes, a perfume I did not recognize, a fragrance that haunted my dreams and whispered doubts into my waking hours. I tried to dismiss them as stress, as overthinking, as the natural ebb and flow of a long-term relationship. But the whispers grew louder, turning into shouts. In the quiet corners of my mind, I started checking his phone. A habit I despised, a violation of trust, but a desperate need for answers consumed me. I found nothing concrete, just an increasing protectiveness of his device, a shift in his demeanor when he was around it. A sudden aversion to leaving his phone unattended. A new password. He mysteriously forgot to share with me. Little things that accumulated like dust motes in the sunlight, visible only when the light hit them. Just right. Then came the text message. A single line of words on his locked screen, visible for a split second, before he snatched the phone away. My heart plummeted. It was from a name I did not recognize, a message that simply read, "Thinking of you, baby." My world imploded. The sandcastle began to crumble. I confronted him, the words catching in my throat, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and fury. He denied it. Of course, he always denied everything. His eyes wide with feigned innocence, his voice calm, his body language unwavering, a master of deception. I felt like I was losing my mind, questioning my own sanity, my perception of reality. The ground beneath my feet felt like quicksand swallowing me whole into a pit of despair and confusion. He swore it was a harmless friend, a colleague, a misunderstanding, a silly mistake, anything but the truth. The next few weeks were a blur of tears, arguments, and hollow apologies. He swore it was a misunderstanding, a mistake, a moment of weakness, a friend. He was comforting a colleague going through a hard time. I wanted to believe him, I truly did. The thought of losing him was unbearable. The thought of our future dissolving into nothingness was a pain too profound to contemplate. I tried to push the doubts away, to rebuild the trust, to mend the broken pieces of my heart. But the crack was too deep, the foundation too damaged. Every attempt felt like building on shifting sands. Every reassurance he offered felt like a band-aid on a gaping wound. The trust was not just broken. It was pulverized, atomized into a fine dust of suspicion and heartache. It was a cold, rainy Tuesday when the truth finally unveiled itself in the most brutal way. I was home early from work, a migraine pounding behind my eyes. I just wanted peace and quiet, a warm bath and an early night. I heard voices from our bedroom, hushed whispers, laughter, a different kind of laughter, a feminine laugh that sent shivers down my spine. My blood ran cold, my breath hitched in my throat, my heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat of impending doom. I walked slowly towards the door, each step heavy, each moment stretching into an eternity. The floorboards creaked under my weight, a symphony of my impending devastation. I pushed the door open just a crack enough to see the scene that would forever haunt my waking and sleeping hours. There he was, my husband, my love, my everything, tangled in the arms of another woman, her face etched with a pleasure that should have been mine, their bodies intertwined in a dance of betrayal. A scene forever burned into the darkest corners of my memory. The air left my lungs. I felt lightheaded, dizzy. The room spun around me. The world outside faded into a distant hum. A deafening roar filled my ears. The sound of my life shattering into a million pieces. I stood there frozen, a silent witness to the destruction of my entire universe. My breath caught in my throat, a silent scream echoing within the confines of my chest. He saw me. His eyes widened in horror, his face draining of all color. The other woman screamed, pulling away, covering herself in a frantic attempt at modesty. But it was too late. The damage was done. The illusion shattered. The truth laid bare, raw and ugly. I did not speak. I could not speak. No words formed in my throat, no screams, no accusations. Just a profound, agonizing silence. I turned and walked away, one foot in front of the other, mechanically, numbly, out of the bedroom, out of the house, out into the cold, rainy night. The rain mixed with my tears, blurring my vision, washing away the remnants of my shattered dreams. Each raindrop felt like a tiny needle piercing my skin, mirroring the countless wounds in my soul. The wind howled a lament for what was lost. The days that followed were a testament to human resilience, or perhaps human stubbornness. I moved through life like a ghost, an empty shell of my former self. The pain was a physical entity, a crushing weight on my chest, a constant ache in my soul. Every memory, every touch, every shared laugh was tainted by the bitter taste of betrayal. I questioned everything. Our entire relationship, our love story. Was it all a lie? Was I a fool for believing? Was I blind to the signs? Was there something wrong with me that made him seek comfort elsewhere? The self-doubt was almost as unbearable as the heartbreak, a relentless tormentor whispering insidious questions into my most vulnerable moments. Did I not deserve fidelity? Was I not enough for him? Was I somehow responsible for his choices? No voice within me could offer a satisfactory answer. His apologies came endlessly, a torrent of regret and explanations. He tried to justify it, to minimize it, to beg for forgiveness. He said he loved me. He said it was a mistake. He said he was lost, confused, unhappy. But none of his words could erase the image burned into my mind. None of his tears could wash away the stain of his actions. I listened to him sometimes just to feel something. Even if that something was a fresh wave of agony, his voice was just noise, a distant buzz that barely registered in my grief-stricken mind, a cacophony of meaningless sounds. In the face of such profound devastation, he spoke of second chances, of therapy, of rebuilding. But all I could see was the brokenness, the irreparable damage. The decision to leave was not a sudden burst of anger, but a slow, agonizing realization that I deserved more. I deserved honesty. I deserved respect. I deserved a love that was pure and untainted by deceit. It took every ounce of strength I possessed to pack my bags to walk away from the home we built, to leave behind 5 years of my life with him. It felt like tearing a part of myself away. a painful amputation of my past. But I knew deep down it was the only path to healing, to reclaiming my self-worth, to finding my way back to myself. The fear of the unknown was immense. The loneliness loomed large, but the fear of staying in a relationship devoid of trust was even greater. It was a leap of faith into a terrifying yet necessary solitude. The road to recovery has been long and arduous, filled with relapses into despair and moments of profound loneliness, but also glimmers of hope and newfound strength. Have learned to live with the scars, to acknowledge them as a testament to my survival, not a mark of my failure. I have learned that true love does not involve deception, that trust is the most fragile and precious gift, and once broken, it is almost impossible to fully repair. I have learned that healing is not about forgetting, but about accepting and moving forward. I have learned to forgive myself for not seeing the truth sooner, for loving so fiercely, for trusting so completely, for allowing myself to be vulnerable in the face of love. It was a journey of self-discovery, uncovering layers of resilience I never knew I possessed. My heart is still mending, still fragile in some ways, but it beats with a renewed sense of purpose, a stronger resolve. I am building a new sandcastle this time, with stronger foundations built on self-love and self-respect. I no longer look for perfection, but for authenticity, for kindness, for a connection that honors truth above all else. The pain of betrayal still surfaces, occasionally a phantom limb ache, but it no longer defines me, it no longer controls me. It is a part of my story, but not the whole story. I am more than a victim. I'm a survivor. I'm a woman who learned the hardest lessons and emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I believe in love again. Not the naive, idealistic love of my past, but a mature understanding. Love that is grounded in reality and respect. I am ready to write the next chapter of my life, a chapter filled with hope and genuine connection, where trust is earned and cherished, and where my heart is safe from the devastating tide of deceit. And this time, I will be the architect of my own happiness, the guardian of my own peace, the author of a future that truly reflects my worth and desires. A future where betrayal is a distant memory, a lesson learned, not a recurring nightmare.